Welcome back to Houston. We're at the George R. Brown Convention Center for the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention. I'm Mark Husenberger on TexasSportsProductions.com. We're joined by David Branscom, head coach of the Brandeis Broncos. Well, Coach, that was a terrific improvement for the Broncos. Just missed the playoffs 2 years ago. Last year, you're in. You go to the fourth round. What were some of the keys to the improvement that allowed Brandeis to have such a terrific season last year?
Well, I think there was a combination of things, but obviously what you're trying to grow with your culture, because I believe the glue that helped us achieve what we did last year has a lot to do with our seniors. And our seniors were the type of people that would fight for each other and all those things you envision when you're looking for a team of chemistry. And that, thankfully, was put together with some young talent as well. And so that combination together helped us kind of get where we wanted to go. And so the nice thing is now that you have some experience in both regards. We have some experience in some kids that got to play longer than the regular season, and they're coming back with some leadership skills that they learned from a great group of seniors.
How much of that motivation would you attribute to, this is fun, let's do it again, let's play a couple more games? How much was missing the playoffs wasn't good? We don't want to let that happen.
No, it wasn't good, and there was a lot of regret from, we process everything. We're never going to blame a kid. And so to sit on that, that's the first time in my coaching career to not be in the playoffs. And so that was tough, yes, but that resolve showed in the finished product the next season. And our kids, obviously, I talk about how I haven't made the playoffs, but the reality of the pain was in for them. And so they went to work, and it's kind of, that getting a chance to play in the playoffs is a great experience. It's sad because we went through that first game versus Churchill, a very good opponent, and started processing after the game. We won, but it was tight, and we didn't play well in some phases. And we started processing the fact that we had two kids on that team that had ever been in a playoff game before.
Wow.
And so definitely the experience of last season hopefully will propel us for what we want this year.
You've been very forthright about the goals, your goals of the Brandeis program, to take them where they've never been before.
Correct.
And as we've established, they played for region championships before.
Yes.
So the goal is to get beyond that.
Yes.
And you got a good taste of what it takes to get beyond that. That Westlake team was very, very impressive against folks all over the region,
Absolutely.
Not just Brandeis. What are you looking for from Brandeis to close that gap? So when, as you would expect and aspire to, Brandeis gets back to the fourth round.
Right.
What makes the breakthrough?
Well, and I think that's the $10,000 question, because I think when we ran into that buzzsaw, it gave us a very realistic look at where we stand from a program standpoint, from size, scope, strength, numbers, and so it gave us not that we want to look like and be like the Brandeis Broncos, but in an effort to get to that goal, that's what you got to go through, and you've got to be as good as them to do it. And so, man, you want to talk about a big wake-up call, thinking like you feel pretty good about who you are as a team, and then to play a Westlake like that. So it was great motivation for us going into the spring, because it gave us a realistic look of, it's hard in this day and age with people in general to not feel good about yourself. And the reality of it is, if you want to be great at what you do, you can't spend much time doing that. And that's what our springs felt like. We're excited about the kids that we have coming, and we'll just have to see if we made the changes and the push to affect that result to beat somebody like that.
So much of it starts with building the offensive line. You've got a great player to build around with Angel Lopez. Tell us about him and some of the folks who will be joining him up front.
He is a phenomenal young man, hard-working, has not missed a day of strength camp this summer. He's got our center, Alec Martinez, to go with that. Thomas Matei, who'll be a senior. And we've worked through. We've got some good ones, but those are probably from an echelon standpoint, experienced ones. Those are the ones that are leading the boat. And based on that servant leader mentality of an offensive lineman, that's where your best leaders come through. We've got one in Jose Pliego who played some, but has really had a great off season and summer, and we're expecting to see some great things out of him. We feel really strong in our offensive line, their experience, their intent in leadership, and so it's exciting. That group makes you excited because you want to come to work every day for those guys because they want to come to work and do everything they can to help your team.
And if they can succeed, Jordan Battles proved himself last year. I think back to watching him play. It's hard to wrap my mind around. He was a sophomore, so he's a junior, and that suggests there's a lot of improvement that can happen, and a lot of motivation for young Mr. Battles after last year. How has he progressed coming into the new season?
Oh, phenomenally. You know what I mean? He is a hard-working young man. He wants to be great at what he does. He wants to be the best at what he does, and sometimes he's such a competitor that you kind of have to level that at times. But, man, we couldn't ask for a better young man to be running our football team because obviously our quarterback is our biggest leader on our team. So he's got we're excited to see what happens this season with him, especially with that offensive line and those pieces around it.
I'd like to hear about your defense as well. The player I remember is Ines Rodriguez, who size-wise looked like you borrowed him from the middle school.
Right.
But if you throw in his direction, you might give up the football. He doesn't back down for anybody.
Yeah, Aiden, I've never coached a kid like that in my life that, based on his age, such a fluent athlete. You're going to see him cross over a lot next year. He was a 14-year-old that started 14 ball games at corner. And so next year he's going to be highlighted a lot more because he's that good. And so that's an amazing thing to say. Size and scope, he's obviously he can't control some of that, but pound for pound, I would have to say he's the best athlete, one of the best athletes in San Antonio. Fluid. I've never seen somebody process so easily for his age. And that's what made it exciting to give him an opportunity to start at the 6A level as a freshman.
What are some things you're looking forward to with the Broncos? What are you looking for so that they can take that next step that I know the Brandeis community covets, and certainly you and your staff?
Well, I think that we've got to be humble and hungry. And we got to take the positives of what we learned from that experience last year and the negatives of where it ended, and only focus on ourselves in that and the work that needs to be done. I think we spend too much time at times focusing on our opponent, and I probably said that to you before because I think our biggest opponent is ourselves. And so, I think we still got a lot of growing as a team. To be a team of destiny, you kind of have to have that core group, that belief in each other and fight. And I'm not saying we don't, but as a coach, you always wonder, do you have enough to do that? Because that's what it's going to take to be that good. So much of it doesn't come down to how high you jump or fast you run, but how much you'll crawl in that foxhole for that guy next to you and lay it on the line for him. And that is obviously what all of us as coaches are trying to grow. But it's hard to right now as a head coach and an old DC, it's hard to measure that level. You know what I mean? I'm anxious in anticipation for the first game to really see if I should feel good as I do or if there's more work that we need to do. And constantly it's a daily growth in building relationships in a football team. And so that's the key for us, and that's what we focus on. So, we'll see if we do a good enough job in it.
Coach Branscom, thank you very much for joining
Absolutely.
us. Good luck at
Always
that meeting
a pleasure,
coming
Mark.
up.
Thank you so much.
That's David Branscom, head coach of the Brandeis Broncos. And I'm Mark Kusenberger with TexasSportsProductions.com. We'll be back in a few minutes.